Welcome back to part two, Dreaming of America.
Oh, thanks for the question. So when I applied to my schools, I had no expectation of probably getting any full scholarship because my score wasn't what they were actually requiring. So it was more of hope, teetering on hope and praying that the grace of God will work for you. And when the admissions came in, when you apply to the US, it's just like putting uh, corn kernels in like a deep oil. It will just start popping. Applying to the schools in the US, admissions very easy. You can go to sleep tomorrow, you get admission. But admission doesn't guarantee the scholarship or you coming to the US. So I had some admissions and I couldn't really jubilate over them. Being the city club president, I knew what was like in the whole process. You can get admission that your I-20 will come, says 40,000, and the consular officer will look straight in your face and tell you, do you plan of selling your whole family's property to pursue 1 year of education or what? Unfortunately, I denied you. You cannot pursue your education. So I left the SAT journey right after college, as I said earlier, right after high school, as I said earlier, it wasn't really something that my dad bought into. So I did most of the things myself. Later, when he agreed, that's when I wrote the exam and I applied. So I had already applied without SAT scores, which you can still do. You can apply with only the transcript. And one thing I'll tell people to do is don't look at the top schools. Don't look at maybe some of the schools that are like not giving scholarships anymore. There are so many ways to get into the US, mostly with school and to come here with a full scholarship. Now you can even look at community colleges, which people in Ghana think that is so hard. It's not. You can apply to a community college and probably some of them, the tuition is $850 a semester. You just have to find a place that you will sleep or you can stay. And once you're able to prove that, you'll be able to come to community college for a year or two. And after that, you transfer to a 4 year college and finish all of this. So I know a guy from college, Zivush from Serbia. That's what he did. He came to, I think, Dallas College for 2 years, then transferred to the school that we were in, and he graduated before me. But he came from Serbia as a basketball athlete. So I will advise some of the Ghanaians that if you can play basketball, please channel that energy into applying to some of these colleges and you can get into it. Don't think that, oh, basketball is for Americans and they will have better basketball players over there, so they won't even look at my application. No, apply. Apply to historically black colleges and universities. Apply to less competitive colleges. Apply to community colleges. And I assure you, you get a full scholarship. Because looking at my score, most of the people that I knew even graduated from a college in Ghana with higher scores than me. Why? Because their perspective was different. They were looking for the Yale, Columbia, Stanford, Princeton, Harvard, Wake Forest University. Like you can get a 2,000 score as of that time, as you said, Bismarck, and still go to school in Ghana because when you are not looking at the schools that are really looking into you and thinking that, hey, he actually has a score that's not as high as we want, but he meets our scholarship requirements, we will take him. Albert came here looking at MIT and he's able to go to MIT. You know, Harvard is in Boston. When you get into the US, it's easy to get a course in Harvard, do something in Harvard. By God's grace, I was even able to go to an Ivy League Brown, but that wasn't even in my league when I was applying in Ghana. So I would say get a step foot in the door. There will be a whole lot of opportunities that will unravel for you. Bismarck able to go to one of the top colleges here, University of Georgia. So I would say that don't think about the Yale, Harvard, Princeton, Columbians. If you can't really get them, look into the other opportunities. And when you get opportunities, please don't sleep on them. Work hard, steady, bend the midnight candle when you come into the US, and let people know that, hey, I wasn't really good in high school, but now the story is different. So that was for me. It was kind of hard for me to get into a school. I applied for 2015. It took 2 years for me to get an admission. So it wasn't like that people really had. I had admission after 2 years, little back and forth. It just only took the grace of God, and I emphasize on the grace of God to get the admission and the full ride. So I would tell people to play their faith, play hard work, and also look at any opportunity that can be given unto them, and never sleep on any opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it is important, like based on everybody's story. I'm about to share mine as well. The key thing is to know that everybody's journey is a bit different. And some people actually get admissions to some of the top universities, or even get admission to the universities right after high school. Right out of high school, they get admission. So they complete, let's say, high school 2024. They go to they come to the United States in 2024. Some graduate high school in 2024. They will have to come to college 2025. Some come 2026. Right. So the journey is different. The key is to be determined and to keep on fighting, and just have a plan in mind, have a different ideas or strategies in mind. And sometimes you also need to be very lucky, or in my case, I say very blessed, because sometimes you need to be able to meet the right people, meet the right person, someone to hold your hand to teach you where you have to go to. Because yes, today there are a lot of resources online, right? You can just go online, Google which schools can I get scholarships at. After you write the SAT, one of the things I would advise people to do is go online. This is my SAT score. Where can I get a full ride scholarship? Put all of those research in. That is also very important. But at some point, sometimes you just need to meet somebody who knows a place or university that doesn't come up in the Google search. It is there, but it doesn't come up in Google search, right? And it's not easy finding that person. So you also have to be a very prayerful person in my estimation. Be prayerful as you're going through this. Hold on to your faith and keep fighting. Be determined and always keep on looking for solutions elsewhere. For me, so I wrote the SAT in 2014, a year after high school. I didn't get to a university or get a full ride scholarship until, like, let's say Q1 2016. So about 2 years, 18 months later, right? So I wrote the SAT. As I said, I had many different colleges on my SAT application to send the SAT scores to. After the SAT exam, I got my score applied to certain universities, and for me, I was under no illusion that I want to just attend Harvard or MIT. No, I just wanted to come to the US. Okay, I didn't care where I landed. Right, the key for me was get to the United States of America, and so I applied to all these universities. I even applied to Canada. So I applied to a university called St. Thomas University in Canada. I applied to everything. Okay, and I got I got the admissions. I got admission in Canada as well. And I remember like yesterday when I got the admission to Canada. They called me and they're like, your school fees. I look at the admission letter. The school fees is about $22,000. We're going to give you a scholarship for $2,000. I'm like, come on, man. Come on, man. What am I going to do with $2,000? Okay. And at the time they have applications. They have an application center, the Canadian Application Center in Ghana, and I worked with them to put in the application to that school. They called me like, what are you thinking? Are you able to do this? And I told them, no, it's not possible. And they're like, can we talk to your parents to try and find out, try and see if you can convince them? I was like, look, it's not possible. They're like, let's just try. And I gave my dad's number to them, and they called my dad. And so I went back home. I asked my dad, did they call you? And I was like, they called me. And I told them that even if I sell my house, I can't pay. So they should leave me alone. So that was the first. So that was writing the SAT in 2014 and trying to apply for the 2015 entrance or school year cycle. So I got admission, didn't get any full ride scholarship. I think I applied to a university called Capital University as well. I mean, I was just dicing it all over the place. Okay, so in March 2015, a friend of mine called Max Gaffer. Shout out to Max. He reached out to me, sent a message like, bro, you can get this school. I promise you can get this school. This school, Kingsley Kingsley has got ambition. You can get to this school. And hopefully one day we can have Kingsley on our podcast as well. But this school was Jackson State University. And Kingsley had applied to it and gotten the full ride scholarship, right? And then my friend Max sent me the scholarship information. And their scholarship information was simply get this SAT score, you can get the scholarship. There was a SAT score for presidential scholarship. There was an SAT score for just full academic scholarship. And there was an SAT score for full tuition scholarship, like on all the different tiers. And so once they sent it to me, that same day I applied. But the problem was the scholarship deadline was in February. Kingsley did not tell me earlier. Neither did Max tell me earlier. Kingsley, I always fight it to myself. You got the scholarship first before you told us. Why didn't you tell us quickly so that we can all apply and come? But everybody's keeping their cards in their chest. So I applied to it. I got admissions to Jackson State for 2015 year, but then the scholarship has already run out. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to take my time. I'm going to pray and I'm going to hope for 2016 admission year. So I waited. I didn't apply to another school. My eyes was firmly on Jackson State. So as soon as I was refreshing their page every single day. As soon as 2016 admissions opened, I applied. So once I applied very early, and I even sent my scholarship application by let's say November very quickly. I was very fast, and I got the information that I had gotten admissions, very pretty early on, and the scholarship came in about I think maybe March or something. And I was like, I'm done. Okay, I'm ready to leave. Okay, so I got a full ride scholarship, and I got the admission to Jackson State. And once you get a full ride scholarship, I think that is the most important thing, right? Once you get a full ride scholarship, it just makes the visa application process easier, which we'll get to hopefully in the next episode. It makes like just being able to come to the US much easier. It's less financial strain on the family. So it was great news for us. But as you can tell, just different stories, different dynamics. And I think we have also been able to portray to you guys the power of networking. Albert mentioned that his cousin met Kingsley when Kingsley was going for his visa application, right?
Visa interview.
Visa interview, yeah. and that's where Albert's cousin got the information and passed it on to Albert. I got the information about Jackson State through Max Gaffer, who knew that Kingsley, who was also my friend, had got an admission to Jackson State University. And Mike, how do you learn about the Jackson State process? You haven't told us the story.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tugalo. Yeah, Mike went to Tugalo. Sorry.
So I applied to Jackson State as well, but Tugalo's scholarship came first. So then I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to apply for any other thing. I'm just waiting for my 20 and go for the interview. So Tugalo, it was a school that I was looking like gazing intently when I was in Opokware. I told some of my colleagues that, hey, I don't think this whole predominantly white institutions will work. I'm not trying to go against them, but that time they weren't giving a lot of scholarships. Someone had 27 or 28 equivalent ACT score, and they were trying to apply to, I think, Carnegie Mellon. And I was like, no, bro, like the Asians are there. Some people are willing to dole out some money. Ain't no way they're going to give you a full scholarship if you don't have 32 or you don't have like 2,100, 2,200. Let's focus on the HBCUs. And most of them were like, dude, if you've gotten the HBCUs, go. We will go to our predominantly white institutions. We want to be in a class with some. They had all these delusions and some fantasies that they were talking about. So I applied to Tugalo. And I remember even when I went to University of Cape Coast in Ghana, in one of my classes, Africana Studies, I called the admission officer of Tugalo, trying to beg her that I really, really, really beg her she should accept me. I cannot. Because at that time I was learning about Sekuture, Imbutu, Seseku. Like, I called the admission officer in the class and I was begging her, answer with me, that I really beg her, what is the thing I have to do so that I can get into Tugalo? So she told me the requirements. I made sure that I would be able to, and my docket got moved to a different man. I know it's just by the grace of God, man, because the person who wasn't giving me a hearing year, once my docket got moved to a different person, it became a whole different ball game. My process was sped up. Then they issued my visa, like I-20 for the visa, full scholarship, and it just took off like that. But it was all through prayer. So I don't relent and think about you can actually do this thing without the hand of God. It was prayer. I told you 2 years in a row wasn't easy. Just waiting and even begging and people telling you no, we will just let you know what you have to do. But still, it wasn't going through until it was moved to a different person. And that person actually gave me a hearing year. And I was able to come here. So it was prayer. That's how I got into Tugalo.
That's great. That's great. I think from everybody's story, Albert shared the story about the athletics scholarship. Mike is talking about calling the admissions officer, please save me from this torture. Okay, people across that have been able to speak to when it comes to the US, they have different dynamics. But one thing that always shines through is you have to be somebody who is very determined, and you have to be somebody who is very persistent. The Bible talks about the woman who was trying to get the attention of the judge, and she went to him every single day, trying to get his attention to hear him. And the judge was like, if I just give her what she wants, she'll stop bothering me, right? you have to be somebody who keeps on like reaching out to these people. These people, they have thousands of applications coming to them. If you're able, one way you can be able to stand out is sending them emails, knowing how to send them emails, being consistent, being persistent, asking them what am I missing, making sure you're communicating with them every single day, every single week, getting all the information you need, not missing deadlines, and you just put yourself in the best spot to be able to get this scholarship, right? And that cannot be overstated, or cannot be overstated, right? And I don't want to understate that to you. That is as important as preparing to write the SAT exam, knowing all the requirements that are needed for these scholarships. So I think that's all of us, the three of us went to, like, I went to Jackson State, Albert went to Jackson State, Michael went to Tugalo College, all HBCUs. We know friends who went to other universities as well. Some people went to Harvard, some people went to Yale, some people went to Michigan State, Arizona State. We have their scholarships like MasterCard Foundation scholarships. You have to be able to look into that. But whatever choice you make, there are qualifications that are needed to be able to get it done, right? So making sure you're knowing what the qualifications are. I know that for sure you need your transcripts, you need the SAT scores. Some schools ask for personal statements or like essays, right? I don't know if any of you have any experience writing any essays, and how it went for you guys. Did you guys have to write any essays for any of the applications to any of the schools?
Yeah, I had to for Tugalo because I tried to apply for their honor scholarship, presidential scholarship, and also I think they had another scholarship which required that you write like a personal statement and submit. So I talked about how I grew up as a poor kid in Ghana, where they produce eating webo, and the source of livelihood was our parents like being part of these menial jobs to get money to take care of us, and electricity and running water wasn't the norm. And if like someone like me have an ambition to study in high school, able to complete and to go to college, but there's no financial support, I don't really want my dreams to be dashed. So I wish they can support me, something like that along the line. So you got to be creative when it comes to writing the essays, so that people will like understand your story. You know, when you go tell them that you used to eat hamburgers and all those things, and like without telling them the reason why you need the scholarship and how you also plan to pay back your community by helping applying for schools for people, guiding them, and also helping people get a better like life. They want to give the scholarship to you. So you have to let them know that you really need it, not want it. And if you're able to prove that, and don't also make theory stories that can never be like
Validated.
Yeah, accounted for. Yeah. And your mom died at this age, and you go to college and say, "Oh, it's my mom's 50th birthday, bro." Like that's a blow in your head. So please don't go and cook up any story that you think won't work. If you have anything, I think you can comment something, reach out to us. If you want any of us, you can go to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can contact any of us. If maybe you have an essay that you want us to look through, edit for you, we are open to like look into those things for you. But as we said, you have to be persistent, especially even in the essays. I had submitted all my documents, but no one was actually looking at them. You know, at the class, not that I hated Africana studies, I didn't hate that, but it was like kind of torture. Like I remember I took an exam, and instead of shading A, I did B. So I tried to cancel the B and make it A. The lecturer marked me down, saying that there's no way you can choose an answer and change. And then so later I was like, how on earth would this be a way for me to validate my life? I had a B in that class because of that mistake. So I was like, no, I don't want to go through this. I don't know how I'll survive this whole thing. So you have to have your own inspiration. Look forward to something that's maybe you see as a change that can change your life tremendously, and fight for it. And obviously don't leave God out. And we know that you'll be able to attain that.
Yeah, thank you. And Albert, any experience with essay writing or on your side? Because I know that coming out, you have to write essays as well, right?
Yeah, for me, like the essay aspect was handled by my cousin I talked about. Like he was a tremendous essay writer, even since his youthful days. So he was the one who pretty much helped me write my essays, and yeah, so.
Yeah, I remember writing essays for the common application, and again, I was working a lot with Max Gaffer. So Max had, been through the whole application process, applied to school before I ever got into the SAT application. So when I was preparing the SAT, when I was preparing for the SAT and even writing the essays, in this case, I always send my essay to him, who will read the essay, who will bring me back some feedback, and I'll be able to improve it from there. During that time, there was no chat GPT, I didn't have any access to Grammarly, I didn't have any special things. So it has to be, you have to read it 10 times to make sure there are no grammatical errors, and to be able to also express your vocabulary and showcase the full range of words that you know. So it was an exciting experience for me, and I think knowing all the different requirements for these applications for different schools, the Common App has access to a lot of schools, but it doesn't have access to all the schools. There are a lot of schools in the US. So I would say go through the Common App application, but then also start researching for other schools outside of Common App. Look for the requirements. Some schools have application fees, I think. Try and find out, can you be able to get application fee waivers on some of these schools? Send them emails. Like, if you don't have money to pay for application fee, send an email, like ask them. Again, it never hurts to ask these people. These people are paid to attend to student needs. So put in the work and ask them questions, okay? And they would answer you. The worst case scenario is not them saying no. The worst case scenario is them not replying to you and nothing will happen to you. Okay, so just keep on fighting and looking for all the requirements that you have to apply. Keep on being persistent, keep on being determined. I think that you'll be able to be successful. Are there any other last words or any stories that you want to add before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I would like to say this. When you're applying to these colleges, know that you can get into the US. That's the first thing you should put into your mind. Not that you will, but know that you can. So put in the effort of thinking about the US and how I want to be here. So what should I have to do to be able to get here? Strategize. Maybe you want to come to the US to study, but a school has given you an admission and you're thinking about it as, I have to pay maybe 10,000, 15,000, but I'm going for the visa interview and they can probably give me the visa, or they're giving me the visa, but I don't know how I'll pay. Please come to the US. If it is an undergrad, transfer your CVs to a community college that you're going to pay less, like 1,200 or 1,300 a semester, and just work from there. After 2 years, transfer to another 4-year college where you will be able to probably get a full ride, because once you start from a community college and you're able to put in a good work, have a 4.0 GPA from your associate or sophomore year, you'll be able to go to 4-year college. So as I said, think about it as in, you want to get into the US, how you want to get into the US, and strategize. It shouldn't always be 4-year route. If the community college opens itself, go for it. If you have the chance to be here but you can't pay for the tuition, ask for people who have knowledge in these processes so that you don't be buried in a whole lot of debt and you don't know how to get out of it. Ask people, reach out, talk. We didn't know when I was writing my essays. I remember Shadrach, who is now at Yale, will be the one that will read over them, edit them, will come back with a whole lot of red inks, and I'll be like, damn, this is what I wanted to submit to the schools. Then Jeffrey Boachi was also a doctor here. A lot of people will look at it for you. So we're also here. If you want to talk, if you want to get an advice, we will be willing to assist you guys in all of that. But as I said, if you want to come into the US, have in the back of your mind that you want to actually get here and know how to get here. And once you get the right information, I know you'll be able to do it.
Thank you, sir. What about Albert?
I'll just add to what Michael said. All that I want to add is to say that you have to be versatile. So in addition to being determined and then having the mindset that, oh, I'm definitely coming no matter what, you need to be versatile for that to come, right? So from my own personal experience, I got to know the importance of versatility. What do I mean by this? You should have a plan B, basically. So you ask yourself, what if, right? And so you don't know, it's possibly that the what if is what is going to give you the dream that you desire or the dream scholarship that you want. So whoever is out there trying to come to the US looking at schools, I just want to say that put in there a plan B, basically. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. And I think for me, one thing I would say is coming to the US, the school you come to is very important, right? It is nice to be able to come to the US and attend Harvard University, or nice to come to the US and attend Yale. It gives you a lot of opportunities. It opens different doors. But you can come to the US and attend any school and still get great outcomes, right? So depending on your score, do not be enamored with trying to get into only the top schools only. Okay. For me, the most important thing is getting a scholarship. That is for me the most important thing. Or getting tuition fees that are much more affordable for you to be able to come to the US, and then stepping foot into the US, where I believe there are so many opportunities. We shall get into our stories about how life was after we got to the US, but I do not think we've done badly for ourselves. Like all these two guys, including myself, that you're listening to, have been able to come to the US and achieve high level things, whilst even if we did not go to the top schools in the United States of America. And once you get to learn about our stories, what are the things that we have been able to do by the grace of God, you realize that okay, if I don't get it to Harvard, that's not the end of the story. If I don't get into Yale, that's not the end of the story. If I don't get into Howard University, that's not the end of the story. The most important thing is, am I able to achieve my dream of coming to the US? And after you come to the US, you will be able to figure it out. So just keep on fighting, keep on trying, and of course, we'll be back again telling you more stories about how we're able to succeed here on our journey to America. Coming to America, documentary brought to you by Fakra. Thank you very much for joining us for this episode, and we look forward to the next one. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Great.
Next time on the Fakra documentary, Coming to America, we're going to discover the meticulous planning, the tireless efforts, and the unwavering determination that set our heroes on the path to greatness. Don't miss it.